You said, to be a teacher of teachers. So how did this idea of, going beyond the school and going to NIE come about?
Again, you know, after after I finished uh, my athletics career, then I told myself, maybe now, I represented Singapore at the Olympics, Commonwealth Games, Asian Games. I had silver and bronze medals from the Asian Games, gold medals at the SEA Games. So I thought that I'm now ready for my next stage in life. And that would be to get a scholarship and improve my teaching career that way. Then I remember I went to two interviews or two or three interviews. One was there was a scholarship going to Russia, and at the interview, the panel they said, "Thank you for doing all these good things for Singapore. Uh, 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 Go home, and we will send you a reply." And a few days later, a reply will come to say, "Apologies, you are not you are not you are not qualified to go for this scholarship," and somebody else would go. And then I went for another interview, and the same thing happened. And then there was a very special occasion where there was going to be a course run by our local teacher training, and it was going to be called the Advanced Certificate in Education. And so I applied for that. Again, I did not get. And so, I realized that I'm not going to get anything because of my sports achievements. So after that last interview, I began to focus on my own school uh, duties, and I did a few things for my school. And another occasion was this: we were asked to do a display with our students at the Youth Festival opening ceremony, which would be at the National Stadium. And then that same display was going to Jurong Stadium, because that year we were going to have, for the first time, a decentralized National Day parade. And we were assigned to Jurong. And so this was in 1975. We were given this task of getting this group of 900 students ready for display in the National Stadium and the Jurong Stadium for the National Day. And the principal said, Mr. Tan said, okay, I put you in charge. Can you imagine? Who am I? And then I said, okay, I'll take this responsibility. And this is what I did. I remember in the 1974 Asian Games in Iran, I had seen the opening ceremony, and one of the items in the opening ceremony was a whole contingent of torch bearers. The torches were burning, and they were marching in a format. And then I told myself, yes, I think we can have some kind of torch display. And I told the principal, okay, let's have a torch display. And he said, okay, tell me more about it. And this is what I did. I also had seen our Singapore police force having a torch display in the National Day Parade. And they had a torch, and then on top of the torch was a light bulb. And so when they switched it on, it was a torch with a light bulb. And I remember going to the police academy in Thompson Road and asking them, hey, can you give me a sample of this? I know last year you had a display. And then they gave me a torch. And I took this torch back to my principal and I said, hey, we can have this, but maybe we don't have uh, the bulb because that will be too much trouble. We just have a torch. And it was this long. And he said, okay, let's do. So we will have a torch display. And I remember making this, I think, 2,000 torches. And I remember a friend of mine from, he had been the head of department in Jalan Tek Wai Secondary School, but he had left and then he became a sports goods salesman. And I said, hey, can you do this torch for us? And he said, yes. And he made these torches for us. And these torches, wooden torches, and I said, you must give us baskets to store them. And we stored these 2,000 torches in baskets. And then we took over the girls' toilet on the third floor because we had very few girls, so one toilet was enough for them. And so we took over this, and when we kept these baskets, and then uh, once, I can't remember this, but I hope some of them can remember. I'm not sure whether it's once a week or twice a week. We'll bring these baskets down to the field, and then we would have these torches. Each student had 2 torches, and so there were 800 or 900 students, and so uh, and then I would plan the display, and I would draw the displays on pieces of paper, and then I would have these teachers helping me to instruct. I would say, okay, can you go instruct these whole 800 or 900 students in parts? You do this, you do this, you teach them that, you teach them that, and then we will have all these displays brought together and then into a display. And you know what? And we would have, I'm not sure how many minutes it was, but we had these torches, and each student had 2 torches, and we had all the different movements. And I think I and a few of the teachers all had a part to play in this. And then our own teachers also prepared the music for the display. And I remember many schools which had this kind of responsibility, they would have professionals coming in to teach them and so on. But for us, we did it all on our own. Me and my teachers and the music teachers, we prepared everything. And then we went to the National Stadium for the Youth Festival opening ceremony, and we had our display. And then I think that was a very encouraging moment for the students because they felt so happy to be in the National Stadium doing this display. And then I hope those 800 or 900 students remember this occasion, and I, I hope they can also put in their input when they see this video, what they felt and how they felt, and then remembering that comeback, and then preparing a few more weeks, and then going to Jurong Stadium and presenting it at the National Day parade at the Jurong Stadium. So this was one major part of my life in Nanyang Technical. So you can see how this has shaped who I was and who I am now. The commitment that we all had as teachers.
That's right. That would have been quite a sight, huh? To see that, all those lights.
Yes. I just hope that, somewhere someone can dig up
Yeah,
videos of
yeah,
this occasion that we presented in 1975 in the National Stadium.
yeah. That's right.
and the Jurong Stadium.
Yeah, or at least a photo, right? There must have been some
There
photos.
must be something. And, and the best part is this, I remember also that in 1975, we were B Division national champions in the national stadium also.
So, I mean, did these achievements, right, in the school, strengthen your resume, to allow you to, get a scholarship in the end? I mean, this is 1975, so you still have what, 5, 6 more years of
Yeah.
uh,
Yes,
running.
as I said, I thought that when I finished
Mm,
my running, I could, get a scholarship and so on. But after 2 years of trying, I didn't get anything. I went for I remember 3 interviews,
mm,
uh, and I didn't get it. And I didn't even get the course that was being run by the local teachers training college. And so I said, okay, let's forget about this academic path. Let me focus on my school students, etc., etc. And then after 1975, when we had the yeah, no, sorry, so I've given up, and then in 19, um, I think it was 1976, uh, or something like that. Uh, yeah, as I said, 1971 and 1972, I did not have
mm.
anything to do with athletics, but in 1973, uh, I had a chance to make a comeback.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and so this is what happened. The the Secretary General of SNOC, Singapore National Olympic Council, by the name of Dillon, Mr. Dillon, he called me and he said, "Hey, we want you to be part of the opening ceremony of the 1973 Siap Games, which Singapore is hosting for the first time. And and we want you to be part of the opening ceremony." And I said, of the torch relay, he said, part of the torch relay. I said, yeah, it should be easy. Carry the torch for 50 meters, then hand it to the next runner, and that's it all. And then he said this, no. We want you to be the final leg runner. That means carrying the torch around the stadium, one lap, and then running up the steps to the cauldron and lighting the cauldron for the opening ceremony. And then I said, oh no, I'm not fit. I've not been running for 2 years. I don't think I can do this. And then he said, listen, this is a great honor that you have been invited to do. So he said, think about it. And then I, I thought, okay, I think maybe I will accept this. And then because I accepted it, I said, I better get fit enough to run around the stadium. And then my boys and girls in school will remember that I used to join them for running so that I could get some kind of fitness. And then later, in about May of that year, another phone call came. And this phone call was from Mr. Hari Chandra. He was the coach of the 400 and 800 meter runners. And, and he said, hey, we heard you are in training. I said, yeah, I'm training so that I can run in a dignified manner around the track and up the stadium steps. He said, no, haven't you read in the papers? I said, what happened? So he told me, go and read the paper. And then I read in the newspapers, there was an article about how our best 400-meter runner, Meha Singh, he had met with a motorcycle accident in the mid-May, and he was in hospital with a broken leg and broken arm. Uh, and then, so I said, so what? And the coach said, hey, we need a 400-meter runner to replace Meha Singh, or at least make the team. So he said, go and train and come for the trials. If you make it, we can use you for the 4x400. And so my students will also remember me joining them in training on the track again, running with the 800-meter runners, the 400-meter runners, everything else, and then going for the one of the trials. And I came in third in the 400 meters, and there were 200. There were two others who were faster than I was, and then but I was still the third fastest runner in the 400 meters. So I was I was invited into the 4x400 team for the South Siap Games, which we were hosting in the national state. And so that was my comeback in 1973. And I remember uh, I had to take care of my runners. So I told Mr. Hari that I could not come for national training or anything because I had to take care of my team in 73. And and then, as I said, in 73 we were district champions, and then we were also national champions. And then I told the team, I said, hey guys, I now have to join the national team. And so you all look after yourselves. Some days I'll join you, some days I have to go for national training. And so that is how I went back to the national team training with Hari, Chandra, and the 400 and 800-meter runners.
Mm.
And then I was in the 4 by 400 meters team on the final day of our Siap Games in Singapore.
Yeah. Yeah, you have actually recounted this, what happened in the Siap Games, right? This controversy with the Malaysian
Okay,
competition. So I encourage you to listen to the podcast that's coming up,
okay,
which should be out, I think, tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow I'll put it
okay,
up. That's quite an interesting story that Mr.
sure,
K has recounted, right?
okay,
But he bears
okay,
no ill feeling towards the Malaysians.
yeah.
um, could you talk about, being at NIE? It was called NIE at the time, or was it called IE?
IE at first, yeah.
IE at first, right? And what you learned there?
So, yeah, this is
Yeah.
end of 1980.
Mm.
After I finished the scholarship, after I finished the scholarship in Australia, in Perth, I come back, and then meantime, I had also asked the head of department whether I had any place in IE, and then he said, "Okay, we will take you on a 2 year secondment," and that's how I came to IE,
Mm.
and then
So you were seconded there as a PE teacher,
PE lecturer.
PE lecturer.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what did you lecture on?
Uh, so I think I mentioned this before. I was put in charge of the athletics uh, module,
All right.
um, uh, and so the teachers, I had to teach the teachers how to teach athletics, and so that was the the, the practical aspects of it.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. um, yes, I
I-
think
In
that's the the first part of my lecturing.
right.
And
Well,
then of course I had to go and see teachers teaching
yeah.
um, in school and so on and so on.
Did you teach the postgraduate or the graduate? Uh,
No, At that time, they didn't have that postgraduate program yet.
Okay.
Yeah, but it came in after that, soon after that.
Okay.
Yes,
So these
yeah,
were the doing the bachelor course.
yeah.
Okay.
This, no. We were only doing the certificate course.
Okay. Okay.
There was no bachelor's
Not
course
yet,
yet.
right? Okay.
Not yet. Yeah. Uh, and then soon after that, um, they decided that the teachers should get should get more than just a certificate. They should get at least a diploma. And then
Mm,
so uh,
right.
yeah, and and then they for us for the PE side, they brought in the Germans to see how a diploma program could be set up,
Mm,
and that is how the Germans came, and then I was identified to go to Germany to do a course in track and field teaching and coaching under the German system, and
where
that was
in
my
Germany?
yeah,
Where in Germany?
in West Germany.
Which
Oh,
which
sorry. It was a city called Mainz.
um
So for the first 4 months, no, sorry, for the first 2 months, I had no, for the first 4 months was a language course. I was in a small town in the south of Germany. It was a town called Prien am Chiemsee, and there was a Goethe Institute, and I did my language course for 4 months, and then after I finished the language course, I went north to Mainz, the University of Mainz, where the course was held for this group of foreign students.
yeah,
I
nearly
think
forgot
six.
about that. And you still have your German today, right?
I had only part of it left now. I remember I was a top student in my
Yeah.
language course
Yeah.
and also top student in the German uh, athletics course. And I remember I was the valedictorian where I was asked to give the, the speech in the German language. And after that, we all came home.
I think you're really a late bloomer, You know, people learn in the early days, but you learn in the later years, right?
Much later years, isn't it? Huh? Yeah.
Can I just ask if the Germans were very strong in track and field then?
But yes, I think they
Mm,
were strong because I remember in the hostel that I was in, uh, the the two top uh, decat the top decathlete and also the woman uh, in the heptathlon, they were all housed there,
mm.
and they were also students in the university, but at the same time they were also uh, given the privilege of training uh, and preparing for the Olympic Games. And it was such a good experience to see how these people trained and they were so committed
Mm.
in their training.
Did you look to, kind of implement or at least to teach, right, some of this German education in terms of coaching, in terms of track and field when you came back to Singapore?
Yes, of course. Huh? When I came back, uh, when I came back, of course, the 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 College of PE had been
Mm.
set up so that we could give a diploma to the PE teachers. But by when I came back, the college was set up by Loughborough Loughborough University, and so I'm I'm back, and I remember the interview I had with Dr. Paul Robinson, who was the head of the college, and he said, "Hey, what qualifications do you have that I can take you on?" And I showed him my certificate in education from the one in Perth, and then the diploma in German. And so he said, "Okay, I'll take you on, but you have to prepare to go further than this." And that's how I had the opportunity uh, to do the next part of my academic career, and that was to go to Loughborough University to do my uh, masters in physical education and sports science in the very prestigious Loughborough University.
So that was in sports science. Were you still seconded to MOE all this time?
Uh, okay, wait. After 1 year of secondment in IE and IE, um, they they asked me whether I would like to be a part full time. And so after my 1 year of secondment, uh, I was accepted as a lecturer in NIE, and I would be at the bottommost rank,
Yeah.
but I had to resign from MOE and join NIE as a staff member. And of course, because I joined them, then I could proceed with my masters, and they sponsored me to go for my masters.
I see.
Yeah, but that was the my life as a how I started as a lecturer.
Where you spent 30 years actually in until 2010, right?
2010, yeah,
Right.
it was a good progression.
What are your memories of at NIE? Do you have good memories there?
Yep, I think uh, the first most fondest memory was being identified to go to Loughborough to do my masters. Of course, I didn't even have a degree, but because of my whatever experience I had and so on, uh, the I was enrolled in the master's program at Loughborough, but it was not a 1 year master's program. It was a 2 years master's program, specially made for two of us. One was Mr. Ong. We were supposed to go together, but I remember that year my my father was very ill and he passed away, and because he passed away, I could not go together with Mr. Ong. I went the following year. But once I arrived there, the first year was like this. Because I was going to do physiology in my master's, I had to attend the first year physiology program and the second year physiology program with the second year students, and also the third year physiology program together with my third year classmates. So I was enrolled in the third year, but I had to find time to do my second year and first year modules and then sit for the exams in the first year and second year modules. And then I had to do my third year modules with my third year classmates and do the physiology program for the third years. And so I passed all that. And then I remember coming home uh, and preparing myself to go back. I didn't want to stay there for summer. I came back for the summer break, and I remember thinking about my the dissertation that I had to do for my master's program. And so um, I remember at the time uh, when I was there in my third year, I had taken part in several studies in the lab, in the physiology lab, as, uh, running on the treadmill, cycling, and doing a few experiments like that, being in the study for other students who were doing their PhD and master's program. I was their subject, but that gave me the experience uh, so that I could do that for my own master's program.
What was your dissertation on?
And so the dissertation was on, what was the title? A special a special test to test the VO2 max, the maximum oxygen uptake of any one person. The most accurate way of doing this was on the treadmill in the lab, wearing the mask, breathing into this mask, and the air that you breathe out would go into a special unit where this machine will assess your oxygen, your capacity to use oxygen. And so this was on the treadmill in the laboratory. At the same time, someone in Canada had found a way of doing this without the laboratory. And so this was going to be the shuttle test. So it was a progressive shuttle test. A 20-meter area was marked out, and then you would run for a minute from one end of the 20 meters to the other 20 to the end, and then back again. And all the time there would be a beep. So this was called the beep test. And the beeps would get closer and closer. So after every minute, the beep would get closer. So you had to run faster to keep up with the beep to reach the end of the 20 meters shuttle. I decided that, yes, for my master's thesis, I would do the treadmill test, the 20-meter shuttle test, and the unique part was this: around the track beep test. That means my subjects would run around the track, but on the track would be 20-meter sections. And there would be a beep sound over the PA system. And the beep would go off every 20 meters. And all the subjects had to be at the next mark, at the next beep sound. So when they started, it would go off, and then some would go fast, some would go slow. But when they hear the beep, they would quickly try and catch up to the marker on the track. Next marker, next marker, next marker. So at every 20-meter mark, I had put a cone, and over the PA system, the beep will go off, and then my subjects will run. And I had to do that a few times because not all the subjects could come on the same day. Yeah. But I would do, the subjects would do the treadmill test at the sports council. I remember the technician she was so helpful that she would put them on the treadmill, and they would have all the masks and breathing system, and they would get their VO2 max measured. Then they also had to do this shuttle. I remember the 20-meter shuttle on in the with the codes, and then they all wore their heart rate monitors, and they would do all that the shuttle, and then when they could not keep up with the pace of the beat, they had to stop, and then we had the data, how many shuttles they ran, what was their maximum heart rate when they stopped, and then I also had them doing the same thing around the track with the 20 meters shuttles. Not shuttles, sorry, 20 meter around the track with the heart rate monitors and so on. So I had a group of about 30, 40 subjects. And they did the treadmill test, they did the shuttle test, and they did around the track test. And I had all this data, and I put them into my master's thesis. And I had to write up the whole project. And of course, it was accepted by the university. And then I did it, and then I presented it to the university.
Right,
and I got a master's degree.
Did the findings support your hypothesis?
Yes. Yes. And so, we didn't have, the hypothesis was this, that this shuttle test or around the track test with the same kind of beat test was enough to reveal a person's VO2 max test without having to do the elaborate, expensive lab test. So that was my idea.
Yeah, and your research kind of shows the progression, right, in physical education from the 60s and the 70s. It was a lot more scientific. It was based a lot more on data nowadays, since your time.
Yes. Yeah, everything can be done in the lab now. There are so many other things. Not only this VO2 max test, they have sprinting, they have just so many things that can be done to make your training more accurate.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I just have one last part to ask you, which is kind of the overall in terms of physical education in Singapore. I mean, of course, we still focus very much on the academic in the schools. What is your view of, of the development of physical education in Singapore? Especially because it's a non-examinable subject. Do you think we still lack enough focus?
I think a few years back, maybe there was not so much focus, but in the last 10 years or so, or maybe even 15 years or so, we have had our the two departments. One, the CCAD, and then the other one, the PE and sports science department. So these departments have grown, and they are coming up with fantastic new ideas. Even now, as I speak, if you go to their website, they are coming up with new things. So I'm so encouraged by these new developments in how they have brought in sports science and sports academic development to make PE more scientific and more, and I think also they want to make it more acceptable to students instead of just being a torturous subject.
That's
so
right.
I think they're doing some wonderful things, And I see how these teachers are gaining not only from what they learn in NIE, but also from these extra sessions in the progression from after NIE.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking, last few years about healthier SG, and a lot of it starts, when you're a kid, when you have the energy to burn. It's important to kind of inculcate, right, this culture of exercise, of physical well-being in the early years, especially when there's so much, sugary food all around, and a
Yes,
handphone is a distraction.
yes. So I think the teachers realize now that you cannot be like, I'm the teacher, you are the student, you listen to me. You have to win them over, and so that's why they're coming out with all these new programs, new ideas, new ways of presenting physical education and sports science. And I think if they can implement this, and the students can see uh, from a very low level, from primary school to secondary school, they can see that, hey, this is a very important subject. It's so enjoyable. And I think, if they can make it enjoyable, then students will accept it even more. And maybe they can accept it even more than the other classroom subjects. Yeah. And so, then from then on, physical education and sports science will become a major factor in our society.
Yeah, that's right. Because it lasts, right, beyond the classroom, beyond the school. Your health
And
is not something you can easily get back.
yes, I think that's the direction we are heading towards now.
Mm. Can I ask you last question? For working adults, right, who never go to a gym, and the men, after they are reservists, they never do any more trading. How would you encourage them to exercise and live healthily?
I think I don't have to say anything to
Mm.
encourage them, because what I see now is there are more and more people putting on their shoes and walking. I think the participation rate has increased. I don't know, tenfold. I think
Mm.
there's so many of them, and also the facilities are also increasing. I just saw in the Sports Council website they are they are going to increase the number of uh, uh, areas where they're going to have these gyms and everything else. More than I think 40 or 50 of them. I can't just believe that. Wow, the Sports Council is really moving. Not Sports Council, Sports Singapore is really moving in the direction. So they're coming up with so many programs and facilities. The most important thing is the facilities, gyms uh,
Mm.
and so on. And I think people can see it. And since the days of the COVID, when people could not go to the office, they stayed at home and work, and then that also encouraged them to do some exercises. And for me, wherever I'm driving, every junction there are bicycles
Oh
waiting
yeah.
to
Mm.
get a green light. There are people dressed for exercise waiting at the traffic junction so that the green man comes and they can cross the junction. And I'm sitting in the car and looking at them and say, hey, when did all this happen? So we don't have to worry that I have to be a motivating factor anymore. It's all happening. Our PE teachers and our our society in general has come up with this new new uh, new scheme. I think.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe a
And
little bit of motivation, right? Now you are 82.
yeah,
Uh,
I
do
am
you- do
going to
you,
be 82 this year. Yeah,
all right.
later this year I'll be 82.
Do you still keep to a physical routine?
I'm sorry.
A
Do what?
physical routine,
Oh, yes.
exercise routine?
Yeah, I also have my own exercise routine. I do something every day.
Mm-hmm.
So I have um, I have non-stop running. Some day, 2 days a week is non-stop 3 kilometers of jogging, followed by 1 kilometer of walking, and then that is followed by marketing because I have to go to market. So I finish my exercise
Yep.
earlier and I do less, and then I have uh, uh, 2 days a week of what I call lamppost intervals. So one lamppost interval is this: I run, I jog, I stride for 5 lampposts and then walk 5 lampposts and stride 5 lampposts, and I do that for in my house in my estate. I have a 1 kilometer loop, and I do 5 kilometers of that. So in the 5 kilometers, I have uh, lamppost intervals. So I do that twice a week, and then uh, twice a twice a week I do walking. I walk 7 laps around my housing estate, so there's 7 kilometers of walking, brisk walking. And then once a week I do short sprints and with longer rest intervals. So 7 days a week I do something, all on the road outside my house.
I feel tired already listening to that.
So that's how I keep myself
Yeah, that's
active.
wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do this at I get up at 4:30 a.m.
Mm.
Do my bowel clearance, and then by 4:45 I'm outside. I do my warming up, and then I go out on the road and do my road work. But before that, I would have done my uh, stretching exercises and abdominal exercises and arm exercises, push-ups, chin-ups, and then I'm on the road. Then I come back and I do some stretching and I use a roller to do some rolling and finished. But as I said, I get up at
Mm.
4:30.
Mm. Amazing.
And on marketing days, I'm off
Yeah.
with my wife. I drive her to market. And on other days, uh, I do some things in the house. I keep my wife company. I drive her wherever she needs to go. And that's life for me.
Amazing. So disciplined, right? And exercise has been part of your life.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I keep going.
Mm.
As long as I can, I would keep going.
Thank you so much, Mr. K, for sharing with us. We're so privileged to have you for Chronicles of Old Singapore.
Thank you very, very much. Kasing. Dr. Loh KS.
I actually want to interview your wife as well. Do you think she'll be
Yes.
willing?
Yes, definitely.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Ask her because I'm very interested in the lives of teachers and what they have to share
Yeah.
from their
Yes.
days.
Yes. Definitely, because she was a major part of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. I'll arrange with her. You have a good day, sir. Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much.
much. All the best.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.